We have a Coppola questions before we move on.
Okay, so I have a Coppola questions here. So no one outside the town thought to investigate the hundreds of missing people who all came through the town of Haynesville? Nobody?
Yeah.
Nobody. Not
Also,
the FBI.
Every single person in the town is in on it, and nobody has spilled the beans. I guess, they don't have internet there. They were going to get it, but they didn't.
Sure. They have cell phones.
They obviously have cell phones.
They call in cops from out of town to help deal with things. And so nobody's going to investigate that missing cop that went to Haynesville and then ended up getting murdered.
Yeah. There's a lot of little logic puzzles here that you have to just, suspension of disbelief. But I mean, seriously, potentially thousands of people living in this town are all in on it, including kids who are the most trustworthy people in the world, They're not going to say anything about this.
There's no logic to it. I mean, you have an entire... that people didn't want to die is the only thing they're chalking it up to. The town was terrified, so everybody agreed to sacrifice outsiders to protect themselves. But Facebook, if they have cell phones, they have internet, okay?
Is there no other town within earshot of Haynesville? I've driven through some pretty remote areas, and there's usually a town within 30 miles of any other town. But I guess Nevada is just a big barren wasteland that's also lush forested.
Oddly, a lot like Georgia.
Yeah, it looks a lot like Georgia. Atlanta is the place to be for filming at this point, man. Every freaking Marvel movie is made there.
When we watched the credits and it came to the, made in Georgia, symbol piece that all the Marvel stuff has, they always put it, Marvel stuff has it at the end of the credits. That's how the credits are coming to an end. But this showed up after a minute. And so I thought, Jesus, was there really nobody who worked on this movie? The credits just went on for 30 seconds and that was it. But then the credits kept going after that. So I guess they were really proud of the fact that they filmed in Georgia or something, or just didn't.
Very progressive state, that Georgia. What a wonderful place to be. Yeah. Cheap. I guess it's cheap. That's the moral of this story. It's very cheap to film in Georgia. And also kind of evil at the same time. Which I guess is why you would make a horror movie then.
Yeah.
What was the deal with that fisheye lens throughout the movie? Did you guys notice that? There was weird parts where it just warped on the side. I know anamorphic lenses sometimes will do that, but usually it's if you're shooting on an anamorphic lens that's not designed for the camera that you're filming on, so the sensor isn't big enough to handle those weird
I thought edges. It was the set they were on was smaller than they wanted it to appear, so they tried to
shot on a wide angle of some sort,
a wider angle lens to do something like that. But I noticed it in a couple of parts too, where it was I don't know if it was supposed to be intentional or they just filmed with the wrong lens on accident.
I feel like it's that. Yeah, they filmed with the wrong lens on the wrong camera, but it felt intentional in the pinball dance. So there's this kind of that scene is shot really weird in the first place. And then it felt normal in all of the shots where he's fighting the animatronics and the lens flares come all over the screen and everything starts shaking and shit.
Yeah.
Which I definitely agree with you is they just wanted to cover up how shitty it looked.
Yes.
With that.
They're just trying to make it something salvageable out of it.
Yeah, they're trying to cover a lot of the ugliness.
How were the idiots Liv calls friends planning to get into the building if the roof hadn't caved in? Did they have a plan up there?
They went up to the roof for some unknown reason.
So you probably go through the duct.
Maybe to find that duct.
The duct would Liv.
That's what I thought.
I don't know if they point out that Liv went up to the roof to get into the air duct.
I don't think
they just show her in the air duct.
No, she's just in it.
So maybe that's why they were up there to get into the air ducts, and that's how she got into them too. One of the things I noticed is the two guys fall through and land in the ball pit, and then the other people that are 20 feet away from them also fall through and end up in the same
in the same spot. Yeah. I mean, maybe they were going for when they saw them fall through, they walked over towards them, and then they also fell through.
Yeah, but they don't move at all. They just drop through where they are.
Why is that gaping hole in the roof never mentioned again? Nobody notices
I
that?
forgot about it.
I think that's what the filmmakers forgot about it too.
Yeah, they forgot.
Yeah. Well, they got to get them all inside the building somehow. It's going to take too long if they crawl through the vents. So just drop them through the ceiling.
Just drop them
Through the ceiling, and then we'll never
It's like
mention
the
it
building
again.
wasn't in that much disrepair. I don't know how the ceiling is weak enough to collapse.
Yeah.
Like usually those buildings have pretty strong. They're designed to be walking on the roof to do maintenance and stuff. So, yeah, shoddy
that-
craftsmanship.
That Nevada desert sun just really wore
Yeah.
out the roof.
Wear and tear.
Well, there was a contractor
Yeah.
they hired to fix it, and he got killed.
True.
So
He got killed.
Yeah. So nobody has worked on this thing since it opened in the 90s or whatever.
that was one of my questions as I was watching it. Like, if it's closed down, why are they paying some guy to clean it? And it wasn't until they revealed later they want to reopen it. But then you're implying that it's been closed down for years, but it clearly looks like they had just been having parties there and
Yeah.
stuff, and it got shut down, and they closed like a week ago or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then why is the power still on there? If it's shut down, why do they have a working fridge in the kitchen? Like, who's paying to run the power?
So that they can feed these drifters before they murdered them.
Tex Digadome
guess.
turns it on once a year. Turn the power on once a year.
So he hired other serial killers to work in a Funland restaurant in a town of like 600 people, and nobody noticed that a group of people, like every single group of people who went into the fun time room, ended up going missing after that, including little children and stuff. Like,
in a small town.
we get the sense that there's not very many people in this town. Like, everybody would know each other. Everybody would talk. I mean, everybody obviously knows each other because they're all in on a fucking murder plot together. So nobody noticed that kids were going missing, and this group
I
of
figured they were killing outsiders.
Well, no, they noticed. Remember, they sent the SWAT team in.
no, like
But that was after this funny smells. You know,
Oh, right.
That was after all those funny smells started seeping out.
So
from
they
the
got
fun
away
time
with it
room.
long enough to things start to smell, and that's when it tipped
Because
people off
serial
finally.
killers just pile corpses on top of each other
Yeah.
inside. They don't fucking
That's
get rid
true.
of the bodies or anything.
That's true.
Also, like, how the fuck do you just randomly? How? My brain's broken because I'm trying to think, like, how, like, serial killers don't just like come together. And like, what are the odds of there being that many serial killers in a small ass town in Nevada?
Yeah,
Georgia.
What the fuck? Like, that's like, it would have been better if it was like Willy was a serial killer and then like he like talked his friends into like killing with him,
Yeah,
and it became a
because
ritual
he's-
thing, or he like it was a
he's
cult.
a Satanist, so they
Yeah,
got into him.
like
got
he
him
starts
into it.
building this cult, this satanic cult.
Yeah.
Instead of just, oh yeah, no, they were all serial killers. They just
I
met up
told
and
you,
started their
anybody who
kids.
wants to work with kids wants to kill kids.
Wants to kill kids,
they're
yeah.
all
It's
through-
that,
that's how you
you
find
know,
them.
Touche.
You set up a place where you're attracting employees to help, take care of kids or have kids parties, and chances are they're going to be serial killers who want to kill kids.
This place opened up in the mid 90s, so it must have been one of those early AOL messaging boards, like they found each other on the internet. Like, oh, you like to kill children too? Come work at my new
me
Fun
too,
Time
bro.
Zone land place.
I'm opening up a fun center called Willy's Wonderland.
Can we get Dahmer? Oh, he's dead already.
Yeah, maybe he already knew them. Maybe they were already, on a chat board for serial killers in the unregulated internet days, and he decided to open this place up and hire his buddies.
So everyone who lives in Haynesville knows for a fact that demonic animatronics are murdering drifters left and right, but no one says anything for 20 years. And it's like the moon landing. Like, it was fake, but for 70 years nobody has said
Allegedly.
anything.
Allegedly. Buzz Aldrin, please do not come and hit us.
Yeah.
Why?
This movie is not what I would like to call one you're supposed to think about.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did they not sit down in the writer's room and
That's one of the reasons I don't
through
like
the
it so
bubble?
much.
The
Like, I get to
writer's
this
room.
movie,
There's one guy.
the writer.
Geo Parsons
The writer
really thought long and hard about this story.
Coppola quick fact, he wrote this while watching The Room.
and playing Five Nights at Freddy's.
That's the thing. So my main problem with this movie is like, even if you take it at the fact that it's trying to be a satire of stupid Hollywood tropes, itself is so stupid and bad at it that it just you can't tell if it's trying to do it that way or if it's just legitimately a cash grab someone made to hurriedly cash in on the stupid Five Nights at Freddy's fad without having to pay any royalties and just crap a movie out with Nicolas Cage.
This could have been like a 2-week write, like the scriptwriter was charged with writing this thing and you've got 2 weeks before we start filming, so...
Yeah.
But even then, like, we come up with better ways to link things together just talking about it now. They could have done a better story that's less incoherent and still stick to that stupid premise. Like, he could have been a guy who actually gets kidnapped and, not some weird killing machine that seems like he wants to be there just to murder these things.
Yeah.
They could have stuck it closer to the theme of the game, which is like you're a security guard who's hired there, so you're there at night in the dark, and actually made it more of a horror movie where they start coming alive and this guy's got to survive, instead of just making him a killing machine again who's going there to kill these things with this dumb plot strung around it.
I mean, I really like the idea that he's avenging the deaths of Liv's parents, and he's there to liberate Liv from this horrible town, and this sheriff who's basically kidnapped her and kept her captive her whole life, and all that stuff. But that leads me to my other question, my final question for a couple of questions here is, so Liv waited till she was a teenager to try and burn down this place?
Right.
Because she was probably, 8, 7, something like that in the first scene.
Tried to never get help anywhere else or do something to try and deal with it until then. Yeah.
But when Comic Relief asks her why she hasn't done anything, she's like, you don't know what it's like living with her. And I'm like, so does that mean that she's been locked in a room for all this time or something? And she does say, you know the drill, friends. And she handcuffs her to the radiator or sink or whatever the hell that was.
If that's the case, why did she rescue her in the first place? And why did she give her any form of autonomy?
Yeah.
If she's worried that she's going to go burn the place down.
Life throws you a curveball.
My biggest one was just, again, like, why didn't the cops just shoot them all? Instead of making this deal where they get to be complicit in murder for 20 years.
If you go by the rationale that they have to come to life for them to be actually killed, so maybe they tried and they just kept coming back to life and they didn't know how to kill them, But that's like, how did they reassemble themselves? Are they like the T-1000?
Yeah. Like, why do these teenagers figure out they probably can just burn the building down and be done with it, and the cops don't try to do that, or the town doesn't try to demolish the building?
Yeah. Well, maybe
I guess they said
if it's ghostly,
they had the contractor.
If it's ghostly, maybe they could come back. Maybe it just reforms somehow. Yeah. Maybe that's what it is.
I mean, if you could become a ghost and then possess an animatronic, who's to say your ghost doesn't possess something else after you kill the animatronic?
Yeah.
It's not like they don't do a ritual or something to try and banish the ghost. They just destroy the animatronics.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what the sequel will be, is like he has to actually, perform some sort of ritual to get rid of them.
Yeah, that was my thing, was just like, why? Why would the town go along with this? Like, they obviously care enough to stop the killings from happening, so they do more killings.
Yeah.
to stop the killings.
Those are people that aren't living in the town, so they don't count.
They're drifters.
Yeah,
they
they're
don't matter.
drifters. They don't care.
Yeah.
They're outside folk. We don't care about them. We only care about our community.
Turn into Kelsey Grammer from Grand Isle. Grand Isle, son. I say it's Grand Isle. I say it's Haynesville.
How did I know you was an army boy? Oh, man. My only other question would be, why? 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 What was the point? Like, why even have plot at that point? Like, not even.
That's what I mean.
Why have plot? Like, just give us what we want. Nick Cage beating the shit out of these Chuck E. Cheese characters. And,
I feel like they had to ham fist some sort of plot into it just so people, I don't know, had some sort of connection to things.
I mean,
I think it would have been better.
Look at movies like John Wick. They have barely any plot.
Hey,
they do a much better job. The less you do, less is more in a movie like this.
Yeah.
If you know your draw is going to be Nicolas Cage fighting animatronics, then just start the movie there. Like, nobody cares about this other weird plot.
And why give us the backstory twice? Like, what the fuck? You could have given us, you gave us the same backstory twice. You could have given us character development instead. You could have given us anything
you could have had a
else.
backstory about who this janitor is, at least.
Yeah.
Could have told the story of the janitor. You know, like maybe Liv knew. She like kind of recognized him, and then she has like the epiphany later on, and she fills in that backstory or something.
Yeah.
If that's what they were going for, which I don't know if
it
they
was
thought
like,
about
this guy's
it.
kids were killed by them, you know, or something,
Yeah.
and that's why he's been hunting them down.
Yeah.
I know I touched on this a little bit before too. I guess this would be my last one because it's still bothering me. Like, what the fuck is the point of even having the kids, the other teenagers?
Body count.
They still
Body
yeah,
count,
literally
victims.
Yeah, body count.
Yeah.
But like, they serve no purpose on anything.
Somebody
Just
has to
like-
get killed by these animatronics.
I
That's
guess.
100% the only
But
reason
then, like,
they're in the
wouldn't
movie.
that satisfy the killings? Oh shit! That is a question I had that I forgot to write down. Wouldn't that satisfy the killings? Like the feeding these things? Like they fucked up all these teenagers. So why does he need to die? At that point, just let him fucking go. They've already got their kills.
Of them, I guess, because they're angry that he killed everybody except Willy.
True.
Yeah.
I think that's why he kills the sheriff, because she allowed him
to
show up and kill everybody.
Kill all these other people. Or all his
All the
serial killer
animatronics.
friends. Yeah, that's it. I just a lot of questions that'll never get answered.
Yeah, but maybe what was just like, was he an animatronic or something? Like, it
Yeah, I don't know.
It really felt like they were trying to set that up, and then maybe they realized that was too stupid for the movie, so they just cut it and left things into it, you know?
There's like another half hour of this movie that's on the cutting room floor somewhere.
Right? We
Him
need
being a robot.
He's doing the fucking robot.
Maybe
we need
maybe
the
it's
Lewis
like
cut, or whatever the director's name is. Yeah,
May-
bring us the Lewis cut.
it's like Threat Level Midnight, where he like forgot that he was supposed to be a robot through the whole movie till the very end.
Yeah.